My 22F fiance 23M wants to buy a Tesla right out of college. I think it's not the best choice, he's pissed. So Mike and I have been living together for 2 years now, which isn't that long, but it's long enough that our fiancés have become entangled. We've been engaged for a year and a half now, and together for just over 4 years. I genuinely love him and we've both done a lot of growing up over the course of our relationship, and fortunately, we have grown together, not apart. However, neither of us are without our flaws. I'm still working on being a more direct communicator, for example. Anyway, the reason for this post. We pool our money into one big family pool, and have since we got engaged. I'm better than he is at planning for things and setting up goals, so while we discuss everything and talk as equals and partners, the bulk of the responsibility of research and number crunching falls on me, which I am okay with. We're partners and we each have our own strengths that we bring into the relationship. The budget is laid out as follows: emergency savings, retirement savings, future housing savings, wedding honeymoon savings, current housing costs. Includes all bills and average food costs, date fund, pet fund, health and fitness fund, transportation auto costs, and then 2 separate funds for each of us to do with as we wish. I also ended up with a rather sizable inheritance, which he does not have access to. The inheritance is for the future and I'm working on growing it. It's tied up in investments, and not something that we're factoring into plans for our near future. When budgeting, I pretend that it doesn't even exist. I know for a fact that he burns through his fund quickly. He always buys the latest released AAA game, shells out for several MMO subscriptions, and the rest is spent in in-game cash shops. I am 100% fine with this. This is not the issue here. The issue is that $1,000 recently went missing from our wedding fund. We're not planning a big wedding, and the wedding will, when all is said and done, cost around $2,000 itself, and I was hoping to have another $500 for the honeymoon. By the way, because I'd rather save for a nicer house, I agreed to no engagement ring and just basic $100 wedding bands. I'm the furthest thing from a bridezilla. That's a lot of money to just go missing, especially since we're both still students who are working somewhat crappy student jobs. I am actually quite proud of myself for just calmly and bluntly asking what happened to that $1,000, and he informed me that he had reserved a Tesla Model 3 for himself. He could tell that I wasn't thrilled about that, and he asked if I was upset. I said, yes, but I don't want to talk about it right now. He asked if I was going to do some research, and I said, yes, and went off into my study area. Things have been a bit weird since then. He's angry with me because he doesn't feel like I'm supporting him, and he says I must not want him to have nice things like his dream car. Now, I've already secured my first out-of-college job. On just my salary alone, we would be able to afford the Model 3, but I have strong feelings against living at your means right out of college. I personally feel like you should be living like you're still in college as far as budgeting goes for the first few years, in order to be able to make big purchases like a house and to set your future up for success. He had said that he agreed when we set up our goals together and discussed this, and I am hurt and upset that he didn't talk to me about this major purchase before going through with it. He still hasn't gotten any job offers that he's interested in. They didn't offer good enough packages, and I think he feels like he needs to get a better offer than me, because none of the offers were skimpy. They were on par with or slightly below mine. I feel like he's trying to spend money that we don't have for himself without even thinking about how it could impact everything else. That $1,000 could have been shifted from the wedding fund to the moving costs fund, for example. I strongly feel like it could have been better spent. We are both still driving our beaters, but when we relocate for my job, we can easily get rid of them thanks to the amazing public transport that we will have available to us. We even talked out the plan for transportation months ago when my offer was still just tentative. Relevant comments. OP added this in the comments. The thing that really gets me is that assuming my job offer pans out, we will be moving to New York. I'm not sure where he thinks a Tesla is going to fit into that plan that he was very much on board for. This just feels like it's coming out of nowhere. Comment. Then this guy is just a moron. Is this really what you want to deal with the rest of your life? OP. He's never done anything like this before, which is what's so hurtful to me. We generally talk to each other about purchases over $500 even if it does come from our individual allowances. It's what we've always done. This is just so out of the blue. I'm now wondering if this is just a warm-up for more things like this. I don't know. Comment. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. He is showing no remorse for stealing from your wedding fund. The wedding he wanted, and is now trying to make you the bad guy for ruining his dreams. Nice. Comment. First, I believe you can get the deposit back. The Model 3 deposits are refundable until they go into production. Maybe he was thinking it was reasonable to put it down just to hold a place in line, then reevaluate at a later date and get it refunded if it wouldn't work out. But this doesn't justify how he went about it, taking the money out of a together fund rather than his fund. He may be resentful that you want a wedding at all and are sacrificing his dream car for it, or feel that he doesn't have enough control of the finances. But again, you to talk about it to resolve this. Calmly. You sound like you're quite upset about this too. Please try to calm down and listen to his side. Even if it does end up being as dumb as wanting a dream car right out of school. OP. I wanted to elope, but he wanted the wedding. So I said okay and planned a very frugal but still beautiful wedding for us that he didn't want to help with because he hates planning events. I'm upset because the person who I felt like was on the same page with me wasn't, and I do feel a bit betrayed, but I have listened to him. I sat there quietly the morning after when he laid out how much getting a Tesla like all of his friends are means to him. I still don't think it's a good enough reason to take our shared money without talking to me first, for a car that he will never let me use. His words that came out when I was listening to him. Neither of us are more in control of the finances than the other, although I do more of the number crunching. When we pay bills, set goals, make purchases, etc., we talk everything through together. Comment. For a car that he will never let me use. So he 1. Committed to a $35,000 purchase without consulting you. 2. Has no job lined up, so you might be paying the whole $35,000. 3. And you can't drive it even if you pay for it. Is this all correct? Comment M. Who's putting the money in the joint accounts? Is it like 50-50? OP. It's 70-30 with me being the 70. He does slightly more of the housework to compensate for it, and we do treat the finances as if they were 50-50. OP on the original plan for transportation when they moved to New York. Our plan that we agreed upon and fleshed out when the offer became more than just a thought was that we would get rid of our current vehicles and get 2 really nice bicycles and otherwise plan to use public transit, so this Tesla thing is extra weird to me. This is nowhere near what our plan was. OP when told she can't change him by arguing with him. I honestly haven't nagged or argued with him about it. I've informed him that I am upset, but that I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I need more information before going into that conversation. I came here to try to get some perspective on how to even frame that conversation. The only interactions we've had about it yet have been the night I found out about it, and the morning after when I asked him to explain his reasoning for doing what he did. I honestly do not see how I am nagging him. I have yet to express my personal feelings about this to him, because I honestly don't know how to get him to approach the conversation with me from a position that isn't adversarial. Since I said that I'm unhappy with his choice, he's been very mopey and making passive-aggressive comments about how I must not love him. I don't want him to have nice things, shit like that. I don't feel like that attitude is conducive to a constructive conversation, and I honestly am starting to worry that he might get physical with me if it comes out that I am not supportive of getting the Tesla and present to him all of the reasons why. Further, I'm still sorting out in my own mind all of the reasons why I'm not okay with this. Comment. I honestly am starting to worry that he might get physical with me. Wait a minute, this is a really bad sign. Has he gotten physical with you before when he's upset with you? OP. The only time he's ever been aggressive with me physically was when we were in the middle of sex early on, and he tried to initiate anal and I told him no because it makes me uncomfortable, and has never felt good to me. I've tried. He did lash out physically then and didn't want to resume other activities that night. I chalked that one up to some disappointment at being denied something he enjoys, and it's never happened again. However, he has gotten physical with people when they've really upset him, which admittedly is rare, but at the same time it is a worry in the back of my mind. I don't think it'll happen, but the possibility does have me worried, and I want to handle this as sensitively as possible. Update. I don't know how many of you wanted an update, but I'm giving one because I feel like I owe it to this community. Y'all saved my ass and helped me wake the F up. I read every single comment that was sent to me and I took them to heart. I realized that my relationship with Mike is toxic, and that I needed to get out of it. I graduate next month and have my dream job secured. I might be in pain right now, but it will pass and I will build a life for myself. This all moved pretty quickly. This morning I told Mike that I had to talk to him and it was important. We talked about the Tesla and why he would commit to purchase something knowing full well that it conflicted with the standing plans and without even talking to me like a partner. He made a comment about not wanting to have to ask permission to buy something as simple and basic as a car. And I reiterated that he doesn't need permission, but he does need to include me in large plans that impact us both. I know that I sounded very rigid when it came to money in my post, but I'm really not. I'm just well organized and I pride myself on that. There is plenty of room for spontaneity and we both have somewhat generous pools of money to do things with. And I've never questioned any of his purchases before, or wanted him to ask permission for anything. I just wanted to be included in the thought process. He told me that he was considering taking out a loan for the car, and we went through all of the reasons why that is a bad idea, especially with his massive student debt. He lashed out at me because I'm apparently approaching this from an unreasonable position of privilege, in that I don't have any student debt, and I don't understand how all debt can be good. I don't have debt because I got some great grants and scholarships, and the meager loans I did take out have already been paid off. My education wasn't handed to me, as he was implying. I became emotional during our talk, and I told him that I had to call the wedding off, and I will be moving out because this is an irreconcilable difference, and I can't be with someone who doesn't share the same goals that I do, or at the very least has respect for me as a person. He didn't seem to care, and went back to his computer to play one of his games. That was several hours ago, and I've been busy sorting things out. We rent from his dad and I was never on the lease, so I don't have a landlord to work anything out with since it was all under the table anyway. I still alerted his dad that I'm moving out, and he surprisingly wished me well, and told me that he knows I'll be a success someday, and he's just glad that he'll be able to say that he knew me when. That hit me so hard. I'm finding that I'm more upset about losing his family than I am about losing him, at least right now. My parents are both gone, and his family stepped up majorly and made me feel like I still had a family. Anyway, untangling assets has been very easy since we did maintain separate accounts. I just deposited money into his for his spending account, and we're only legitimately joint on the wedding account. I'll get that closed down this week. I'm writing off the $1,000 as a loss and will let him deal with the Tesla mess on his own. Who knows, maybe he will sort everything out, but I didn't want to go along for that ride. I'm writing this from my best friend's place. She's insisting that I stay here with her until I have to leave, and I am so thankful for that. I had never told her all of what was going on with us, and she was horrified that he'd do any of what he did, really. She offered to round up her brothers and cousins and go give him a talking to, which made me laugh. She's sweet, and she's helping me cope with my feelings about everything that happened. I'm feeling sad and down, but I'm also already feeling relieved. Most of my things are already out of the apartment and are in my friend's garage, and I'll be getting a storage unit this week as well, but she's telling me there's no rush. Sorry for all the rambling. Anyway, thank you all for helping me see all of the things that I didn't want to see or couldn't see because everything had just been so normalized. I'm now apartment hunting, so I won't even be restricted as far as what kind of place I'm looking for, so that's another bright point. I'm a weird mixture of sad, angry, relieved, and excited right now. Relevant comments. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but let me say that I am so proud of you for recognizing that this will be better for you in the long run. You don't need someone like him to drag you down when you are so full of potential and have worked so hard. Go find yourself a beautiful apartment because you really deserve it. OP. Well, the tentative plan is to find the cheapest, smallest place I can, in a still relatively safe area, and save until I can find something better and have a better idea of where in the city I want to live. It's weird to just be totally free, but I like it. It's the first time I've ever been entirely alone. I think this will be a good thing in the long run, at least I hope so. Comment. Do you care that he didn't care that you left at all? OP. I do, but I think I'm still a bit in shock over everything, to be honest. I needed to get out ASAP once everything really hit me. Holy shit, was that toxic. However, I don't think the reality of the breakup itself has hit me yet. I'm glad that I have a few months to process and grieve and move on before needing to move to New York and start that job. Comment. Good for you, girl. So proud of you. You're certainly an inspiration to this girl who doesn't know how to get out of a shitty relationship. OP. Honestly, having a bunch of random people who don't know me scream at me like, "What the F are effing doing, are you a moron?" helped a lot. The outside perspective and the fact that no one answered the question I was asking, rather answered the question that I was too afraid to ask, gave me the nudge to really breathe, take a step back and evaluate it all, and then something clicked inside of me and I had to make it happen. I'd probably still be with him had I not gotten these outside views because honestly, taking some distance, it was obvious. I guess what I'm trying to get at is you can do it too. I guess we all have to get to our breaking point first though, where we say, hey, I deserve better than this and I'm not going to take this shit. Reddit gave me the courage to do that. You keep doing what you need to and you'll be out soon enough too. I have faith in you, random internet stranger. You've got this too.